One of the biggest lies women in narcissistic relationships fall into believing is that the only way to survive is to stop being themselves. Have you ever felt like the only way to survive your marriage is becoming smaller? To say less, reveal less, to stop sharing what you really think and what you really feel? Maybe you've caught yourself thinking, I can't say what I really think. I can't tell him how I really feel. I can't be vulnerable because somehow it always gets turned against me. These are very common and very, very painful experiences. If you've lived in that reality for any length of time, it creates a painful question. Am I becoming inauthentic? Am I betraying myself just to survive this relationship? Before we jump in and start answering those questions, if these videos are helping you make sense of what you're experiencing, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel. That helps us reach more women who are struggling in this kind of a situation. And if you're looking for a safe place to learn and heal and stabilize your nervous system, I also want to invite you to join our free Detox Your Marriage community on School. You'll find that link down below. Now, let's talk about this important question. Do I have to become inauthentic to survive this relationship? The answer is no. The solution is not becoming inauthentic. The solution is becoming wise. There's a profound difference. One of the mistakes that good-hearted people make is assuming that authenticity means complete openness with everyone at all times. That's not authenticity, because healthy authenticity is not reckless transparency. Healthy authenticity is being truthful about who you are while also exercising wisdom about where, when, and with whom you share your heart. Think about that for a moment. Most of us would never hand our wallet out to a stranger on a busy street. That wouldn't be generosity. That would be bad stewardship. That would be foolish. Yet many people repeatedly hand over the most vulnerable parts of their heart to someone who has consistently mishandled them, and then get disappointed and angry why they keep getting hurt. So one of the most important lessons I've learned professionally, and many women have to learn personally, is this: trust should be proportional to the demonstrated trustworthiness. Not everyone gets unrestricted access to your inner world. And that's not because you're cold, and not because you're manipulative, and not because you're narcissistic. It's not you playing games. It's because you are called to be a wise steward of your heart and soul. If you want to make it kind of scriptural, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Notice it doesn't say harden your heart. It doesn't say close your heart. It doesn't say become cynical. It says guard it, steward it, protect it. That means learning not to offer more of yourself than the relationship can safely hold or the other person can reliably handle. Some people are going to immediately object, but Dr. Don, they're going to say, shouldn't spouses be completely open with each other? In healthy relationships, yes. Mutual openness is the raw material that builds intimacy. Mutual vulnerability creates connection, and mutual, notice I'm saying mutual empathy creates safety. But what happens when vulnerability repeatedly becomes ammunition? What happens when your fears are mocked, your pain is minimized or dismissed, your words are twisted and used against you? At that point, continuing to expose the most vulnerable parts of yourself isn't authenticity anymore. It's self-endangerment or self-harming behavior. And many women have never been given permission to understand that distinction. So they continue walking into the same emotional ambush over and over again, telling themselves, maybe if I can just explain this better, if I can just be more vulnerable, if I could just help him to understand. And each time they walk away feeling more unseen and hurt than before. You see, the problem isn't that they're too authentic. The problem is that they're seeking emotional safety from someone who has repeatedly demonstrated an inability or an unwillingness to provide it. Hey, I'm Dr. Don, and I want to announce something I built specifically for people who are exhausted from doing all the right things, the therapy, the journaling, the self-help books, and still feeling stuck. Here's what most people don't tell you about trauma recovery. It's not a willpower problem. It's not a mindset problem. It's a nervous system problem. And until someone gives you a map for that, you're going to keep spinning. My new book, The Trauma Recovery Blueprint, is that map. It's 30 years of clinical work distilled into a step-by-step framework that takes you from surviving to actually living and flourishing again. No fluff, no vague advice, just a clear, proven path forward. You can grab it on Amazon now. The link is right below this video. And if it changes something for you, I want to hear about it. Leave a review and tell me what you got out of it to help you get unstuck. All right? Now, back to your regularly scheduled video. And this brings us to what I believe is the deeper work and the key work. So the outer work is learning discernment, right? Judging, assessing, discerning who's trustworthy and how trustworthy they are. The inner work is learning self-validation. One of the most painful realities many women face is this. Part of them is still waiting for him to finally understand, waiting for him to finally acknowledge the damage, waiting for him to finally say, "You're right. I hurt you. I understand now. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry." Of course, those things would feel wonderful, but many women become emotionally trapped because their nervous system is still treating his validation as the missing piece, as though healing cannot begin until he finally agrees with reality. And that creates enormous suffering because now your peace depends on something that's outside of your control. You're outsourcing your inner peace. One of the most liberating moments in recovery is when women realize, wait a minute, I can validate my own experience. I can trust what I saw. I can trust what I heard. I can trust and name what my body experienced. I can trust my intuition. And it doesn't require his agreement. In fact, this idea is one of the central themes in my forthcoming book, the RSVP Protocol. Reclaim your life, your voice, and yourself without leaving your marriage. The book is going to be available in just a few weeks on Amazon. And if you've ever felt trapped between staying and losing yourself, I think you're going to find it both validating and practical. I'll share more details here on this channel as we get closer to release. I want to be clear here. I'm not inviting you or asking you to become arrogant. It doesn't mean assuming that you're always right. It means no longer outsourcing your relationship with reality. Many women have spent years abandoning their own perceptions and aligning with his explanations. And eventually the nervous system becomes confused because the body, your senses see one thing and the mind is trying to say another thing. Or to put it another way, your emotions are feeling one thing and the relationship narrative says something else. And over time, this creates profound dysregulation. And so the healing process involves bringing those pieces back together into alignment. Your mind, your body, your emotions, your intuition. Bring it all together into one coherent reality. And once that begins happening, something remarkable occurs. You stop chasing validation. And so you don't need to over-explain. You don't need to defend every feeling. You don't need him to agree before you're allowed to trust yourself. And from that place, authenticity actually becomes so much easier. Because now you're no longer performing. You're no longer persuading. You're no longer trying to convince someone to acknowledge what is already true. You're simply living from your own grounded center. That's emotional maturity. It's wisdom. So if you've been wondering whether surviving a narcissistic relationship requires you becoming fake, let me leave you with this. You do not have to become less yourself. or manipulative or cold or emotionally shut down. What you may need is to become more discerning, more grounded, more self-validating, more protective of what is sacred within you. Because not everyone has earned unrestricted access to your emotions and your story. That is being a wise steward of your soul. And sometimes wisdom becomes one of the most important steps in the healing journey. So if this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. I read them. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content. And if you'd like support and community right now, you can join us inside the free Detox Your Marriage community on School. The link is down below. And if you'd like more personalized guidance, you can also schedule a brief complimentary consultation call. That's where we'll understand your situation and we'll map out what next steps might be for you and whether one of our programs is a fit for your situation. Finally, keep an eye out for my new book, The RSVP Protocol, Reclaim Your Life, Your Voice, and Yourself Without Leaving a Marriage. It's coming in just a few weeks. I truly believe it's going to help thousands of women stop losing themselves while trying to save their marriages. Until next time, take care of your nervous system, protect your peace, and remember, you're allowed to trust what you know to be true.